Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Critting Your Role, an actor's guide to role playing. Like I said before, this show is basically about me giving you little tips that will help you in role playing your characters more effectively. I've seen a lot of people that have complained about Critical Role, specifically in the idea that these are professional voice actors and we can't really hold ourselves to that kind of standard because this is what they do for a living. You know, not everyone can do that. I disagree to a point. Yes, they are phenomenal, amazing actors, and I don't think everybody has the ability to do what they do. However, role playing at your own table, or with your friends online, or however you play your RPGs, is something that I feel that everyone can do. And so, being what I consider a classically trained actor, I went to college for it. I have an extensive history of being in shows, and I have some film training. I'm going to give you guys a few tips on things that you can do to help enhance your role playing. And what I'd like to talk to you guys about today is breath support. Breath support is something that is incredibly important in public speaking, in singing, in playing an instrument, any wind instrument. You learn breath support very, very quickly. And it's also very important in everyday conversation. Understanding how to support your breath correctly can really improve your volume, your ability to control your voice, your ability to sustain notes and continue speaking for long periods of time. It can also help you to preserve your vocal cords so that you're not doing damage when you do need to speak louder than normal. That's not why I'm going to talk about breath support. What I'm going to talk about breath support is the idea that by just simply changing how you support your breath, you can impart personality onto your character. Everybody speaks a little bit differently. There are some people that are very loud and boisterous, and they have very deep voices, and you can hear them across the room. I'm one of those people, and that's mostly because I have had years and years and years of training of proper breath support. I do it without thinking. However, there are other people that they don't really support their breath as much, and so they tend to be a little bit more soft-spoken, and because of that, people will view them differently. They'll view them as a little bit more tame. They'll view them, a lot of times they'll view them as not as much as a threat. Now, what I've done there is I haven't actually use my vocal cords any more or any less. I haven't right now. I'm not yelling at you or anything. What I'm doing is I'm supporting my voice and I'm letting it naturally resonate the way that it's supposed to. There are natural resonating chambers all throughout your body. Your lungs and your chest cavity is a natural resonator. There are resonators in your voice box, your sinuses, and all the open spaces in your head are all natural resonating chambers. And when you allow those chambers to be utilized, your voice becomes very loud, your voice projects very far, and you sound confident. So if you are playing a confident character, if you're playing a paladin or maybe a bard, and you want to appear confident, simply supporting your voice will make a world of difference in how people perceive you, especially if that's not the way you normally speak. I mentioned in my last video, I tend to do something physical to kind of get my mind into the idea that I'm playing a character and I'm not being myself anymore. And changing how you support your breath is a physical thing. You will notice it immediately. The first thing you really have to learn is how to support your voice correctly. And the best way I've been taught to do it is actually really simple. Lie down somewhere flat. Take the pillows off your bed, get on the floor, whatever, so you're completely flat. And place one hand on your chest and another hand on your stomach, a little above your belly button. And then all I want you to do is breathe in. Now, the way that your lungs work is they are two bags that there is a muscle attached at the bottom called your diaphragm. When your diaphragm pulls down, it expands the lungs, they fill with air, and that's how you speak. Now, if you are simply, your lungs have muscles in them. If you are simply using the muscles in your lungs and you're not supporting it with your diaphragm, you are going to be much more soft-spoken, and you're not really going to be able to project nearly as much. A lot of people speak this way because they've never really been taught how to project their voice. However, if you take big breaths from your diaphragm and you actually support your breath with your diaphragm, you'll actually project your voice louder, it will travel further, and you will sound more confident. So what I want you to do is you put one hand here, you take a deep breath, and the first time, all I want you to do is take a breath and only move your left hand, the hand that's on your chest. Do that. That is just your lungs. That's not really using your diaphragm that much. All it is it's using your lungs and a little bit of your diaphragm because they don't work without your diaphragm. So do that a few times. Get used to it. Then what I want you to do is take a breath and only let the hand on your stomach move. That is done entirely through your diaphragm, stretching down. It'll feel weird. It'll feel awkward, but you will definitely feel the diaphragm. You will be able to feel that particular muscle moving. And then there's actually a meditation technique that involves this, where you start with chest breaths, and then you do belly breaths, and then you fill your chest and then your belly, or you fill your belly and then your chest. It's actually a great meditative technique. That's not what we're going to focus on. Once you've done that enough and you've kind of identified within yourself your diaphragm, remember when you take breaths in that and start speaking, that muscle should tense a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about tensing all the muscles in your body, because that will actually cut off your resonating chambers. You do want the diaphragm, though, to be forcing the air through. You don't want to be using your lungs to force it through. You definitely don't want to be using the muscles in your throat or the muscles in your face, because what happens when you tense these muscles here, or these muscles here, or these muscles here, what they do is they stop the natural resonating chambers from vibrating. They stop them from allowing the sound to echo the way it's supposed to. So once you've gotten comfortable doing that, practice speaking loud. Imagine there is a I'll take an example from Dustin Hoffman, who's a brilliant, phenomenal actor that you've probably seen many times. He has an exercise that he does where he imagines there's a plate glass window on the other side of the room that he has to break with only his voice. I don't recommend doing this in the middle of the night like I am now, so I won't be doing it very loud. But when you do this, you want to speak loudly, and you want to try and get your voice to travel as far as possible without screaming, without using your neck muscles. All the muscles in your face and your neck and your chest should be relaxed. What you should be feeling the tension in is in your diaphragm. And when you do that, your voice carries and it sounds very confident. And once you get used to the idea of supporting your voice, then you have to either go back to what you were doing before, or, like in my case, learn how to not do it. You just don't support your voice, and it comes out much quieter, and it comes out much more thin, and it'll really change how people react to you. Now, obviously, at the table, this can present some issues every so often, but every so often it's nice to have that one character that forces players to really listen in and really focus. If you're playing a very shy character is not going to want to voice their opinion. They're not going to want people to look at them, and so they're going to speak more softly, and so they're not going to support their breath. Whereas if you're playing a very boisterous, very loud character, they're going to support their breath very, very well. And they're going to speak with diction, and they're going to choose their words very wisely, and they're going to look you in the eye. If you're playing a creepy character, just one of those characters that's meant to put people on edge, you cannot support your voice when you're speaking, and it forces them to get closer and closer and closer until you finally reveal your master plan. And just by fluctuating how much support you have in your voice, fluctuating the volume level of your voice, and how you treat it, you can really do a lot without having to go into accents, without having to do advanced training or anything like that. The ability to support your voice is a very, very basic ability. All singers, musicians, vocalists in general learn how to do it as step one. This is step one before you even get started in that industry. So this is a very simple thing to learn. Like I said, try the hand and the hand in two places, and try that exercise until you get very comfortable, really feeling where your diaphragm is, feeling when it works, feeling when it doesn't work, and go to town with it. Modulating your voice during a game is a great way to add dramatic tension to the game, to really show your characters going through different aspects of their life. There might be parts where the character is very, very confident, or he's just, done something, he or she has just done something really stupid, and so they feel sheepish, and so they stop supporting your voice, and they talk real low or something like that. Or maybe they're in an awkward situation, maybe a romantic situation, or maybe they're in a situation where they're trying to do something that they're really not very good at. They may just subconsciously stop supporting their voice because they're not very confident anymore. And then they'll start supporting their voice as soon as they do feel confident, or as soon as they realize that they're acting differently. And of course they're not acting differently. Why would I be acting differently? I'm acting the same way that I always have. Just remember, relax your face, relax your throat. This is all done in your chest and with your diaphragm. Don't let speaking loudly, unless you're doing it for very long periods of time, should not hurt your vocal cords. If you're starting to feel like, if you're getting that kind of raspiness on your vocal cords, you're making your voice louder by straining your vocal cords. You don't want to do that. It can damage the cords. It can eventually cause permanent damage. You don't want that. This is all done in the chest. So that is the tip today. Breath control, supporting your breath, and changing the volume of your voice, not by yelling or whispering, but by just changing how much you support your breath and support your voice, can really add some new dimensions to your character, especially if you add in the posture techniques that we spoke about last week. It can really start adding some nuance to the character that lets you do some really, really fun, interesting things that will make people want to get your character more, want to talk to your character more, want to role play more, because now you are no longer Jeff who's playing the wizard. You are, Diamocles, a 10th level wizard who speaks very loudly and supports himself because he knows what he is doing and has been trained in the arcane arts for many, many years. Or maybe you're Skippy. You're Skippy the Halfling Thief, and he never really talks very loud because he doesn't really want people to notice where he is until it's too late. These are little things that can make a massive change to how you play your character. So in the comments below, I would like you guys, give this a try. Give the exercise I mentioned a try. Put, again, left hand on your chest, right hand on your stomach, a little bit above your belly button, a couple inches above your belly button, and just try this breathing technique. Get to know how your diaphragm works, get a feeling for your diaphragm, and then experiment. And don't just worry about experimenting at the table. Experiment at Experiment with your family, experiment with your friends. See how they react differently when you start supporting your voice differently. And let me know what happens in the comments below. You know, did you have good experiences? Did you have bad experiences? Did your family think you were going really, really weird? Did your friends start treating you weird or ask if you were sick or something simply because you changed how you were supporting your voice? All these things are really important, and they kind of will influence how you role play your character. All right, so again, leave comments below about the different ways that supporting your voice has kind of changed how people react to you, both at the table and in other aspects of your life. Again, feel free to like the video if this is something that interests you, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. That's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time, all right? Bye-bye!